This is Krishna is referring to bhakti in some form here. So how bhakti will take you closer to moksha, kind of, is what I perceive is the essence of this here. So I was wondering, bhakti itself is giving a kind of a tangible notion to something which is mithya, right? I mean, like if I'm bhakti to me, I mean, at least initially in my all my ignorance seems to be like an extension of Dvaita. If I have bhakti, then I'm giving a reality to something which is not real. But that apart, at some point, I was looking what kind of bhakti will lead to moksha, or sakshatkara. If I want sakshatkara, then I have to have bhakti. There's no doubt about it. But what kind of bhakti? Is it nirupadika bhakti? So if it is nirupadika bhakti, then what is that bhakti? And if for that bhakti I need nirupadika prema, right? So what is that prema? So one prema leads to bhakti, and bhakti leads to sakshatkara, right? So I just want to know the progression of what exactly, because even nirupadika prema, theoretically, even if I have Ishvara and I pray, I'm praying for something. How will it be nirupadika bhakti or prema?
Yeah. So nirupadika bhakti is not. So let me explain this. It's not. It's often it's stated sometimes, but it's not. So let's talk about bhakti. So bhakti is very important. Okay, why is it important? Well, without Bhagavan, without connecting to that Bhagavan, there is no question of even this Advaita, right? Even this Jnanam is not possible unless we connect with Ishvara, with Bhagavan. So connecting with Ishvara comes only by first Eka Rupa Bhakti. Eka Rupa Bhakti, which means Bhagavan is in the form of Ganesha. Ganesha is my Bhagavan. My Devata is Ganesha. Therefore, I worship Ganesha. Wherever I go to Ganesha temples, and Ganesha is my Pradhana Devata. So he is the one who takes care of me. And I connect with Ganesha. Connect. So that's Bhakti. It's called Eka Rupa Bhakti. Okay. Then what happens? Then we begin to see. We have to be able to see. Hey, Ganesha, God cannot be in the form of Ganesha alone, because there are so many people worshipping so many devatas, and they're also getting what they want, etc. They are also bhaktas. There is a Sri Vidya Upasaka, and for whom Sri Vidya Devi is the devata. And therefore, it has to dawn on me that I am worshipping an aspect of Ishvara. Correct? Non-Ishvara completely, an aspect of Ishvara, Bhagavan. Because I want to know Bhagavan. So an aspect of Ishvara is there in front of me. As Vinayaka, as Devi, as Rama, etc. The great Rama, also an aspect of Sarvajna Ishvara. Correct? Therefore, what happens? Now from Eka Rupa Bhakti, I begin to have Vishwarupa Bhakti. Correct? Vishwarupa Bhakti. That means I'm going to have to see Ganesha everywhere. I'm going to have to see Bhagavan everywhere. And I'm not going to be, I'm going to be wiser and say, yeah, now Bhagavan cannot have a form, my God. And because the minute I say form, then it's a limitation, and I can't take it as literally as I used to take it. Correct? So therefore, Vishwarupa Bhakti. Then okay, then you mention Nirupadika Bhakti. Okay. But what happens, Nirupadika Bhakti, when you come to Vishwarupa Bhakti, then what happens? Then the Jiveshwara Aikam has to play a bigger role. And so that Jiveshwara Aikyam is there. And I am not different from you is also there. So that Bhakta, who has a lot of Bhakti, will have to smile at Bhagavan sometime and say, I am worshipping you, even though I know that you are me. Correct? Soham bhavena pujayet. We do this, Soham bhavena pujayet. We start the puja with that kind of a statement. That statement becomes very real now. and soham bhavena pujayet. But the bhakti is still there because the ajnanam is still there. Okay, even though I have these ideas, I'm still ignorant. I haven't sakshatkaram, as you use the word, has not happened. Therefore, I will continue the same way. But once sakshatkaram has happened, then what? Then the duality is not there anymore. It's a vision. In the vision, there's no duality. Therefore, suddenly, there is no second. When there's no second, prayer is done for loka sangraham. For other people's sake, they will do prayer, not for their own sake. Their own sake, prayer is not needed. Because what do you get out of that prayer? Nothing. The journey has ended. So then prayer becomes puja, becomes bhakti, becomes for others' sake. Bhakti continues to be there, and Krishna is going to say later that jnani bhaktaha chaturvidaha bhajante mam will come later on. Right? And arti, artharti, jitnyasu, and jnani is going to say. Correct? So jnani is also a bhakta only, no doubt about that. Because finally, say this body only. Just because you get knowledge doesn't mean you don't become like at least Hanuman used to become big and change his size and all that. But still doesn't matter. Still, even Hanuman had to run after the sun, and so Dvaita is still there. So I hope that answers your question somewhat, Balaji. Huh?
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. 1 minute. There's somebody knocking on the door. Yeah. So.
Jaykumarji.
Yeah, okay, Sundariji, go ahead. Go ahead.
You talked about that buffalo story. So there is a temple called Parabrahmam Temple in Ochira in Kerala.
Okay.
Yeah, where this the story, they talk about that story there.
Enna kovil idu?
Parabrahmam Temple in Ochira near, Ochira in Kerala.
Okay. Yeah, I should make a note of that. Yeah. Ochira. Okay. Thank you.
Because I used to pass by that temple when I go to the ashram at Valikavu.
Okay. Yeah, I looked that up. Somebody knows about it. Let me send me a link.
So they told me that Brahmachari who came with me told me about that the same story what you told, and then they said this is the temple.
Very nice, very nice. So happy about that. Yeah, it has to be. I'm not surprised actually. Vidya, go ahead.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So you were just sharing about how people worship in different ways, right? And being Hindus, we also feel that because we're the oldest religion, we know something more than, we probably know everything, right? And I just wanted to share a connection. When we just traveled to the north of New Zealand, you have these people called the Maoris, and so it's very touristic, right? They are the original habitants of the land, and so they take you on these day trips and do stuff and everything. So there was this Maori who picked us up, and we were going to visit a forest, and he came. It was really early in the morning, and we drove a lot, and as we came to the forest, the entrance of the forest, he told us that he's going to say a prayer in Maori language, and if he doesn't get permission to enter the forest today, the trip will not happen. And I was hoping that we would get permission to enter the forest, because we were preparing for everything. And so, and he just chanted something in his language, and we were just witnessing, there was a huge wind, like a swirling wind. I could hear it. It was so powerful. And after that, it came and went, and he said, okay, we have permission to enter the forest today. So everywhere we go, these people of these tribes, they know how to pray to nature, and they know, I mean, that's something which, by um, colonizing them and all that, we continuously losing it, but they do know how to do it. And I was so shocked and very impressed that I could see, it's like pramana, right? That
Yeah,
it happened in front of me.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's very, then you really respect these people, because, and what he also told us is that when they introduce themselves in the Maori language, what they do is they don't say I am Vidya or I am whatever. They say my father is the mountain, because New Zealand is a country with so many mountains, rivers, lakes, and the sea, right? And these people really know the forest, and they thrive so much using only a canoe. And so they say that my father is this mountain, my mother is this river, and my canoe's name, they say, and then they give the name of the tribe and the sub tribe, and so many other things. And then they have a name, and then they say, I am this. Basically, it is saying that I'm nourished by all these things, and so I am this. That I thought was also very beautiful. So I
Do you
thought I
know?
would share
Do
this
you know?
connection.
Do you know of a similar thing in Hindu Dharma? Introducing oneself like that.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
Vaidya is
when they prostrate, they do that, right? I mean,
right.
the men do that. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the brahmacharis do that, and
Yeah.
we all do that. Everybody who
Pravara.
has
It's
that.
called Pravara, right?
It's called Abhivadaye, Abhivadanam. So
Yeah.
Abhivadaye. So when we introduce Abhivadaye, Angirisa, Pauraputsa, Trasasya, Trashaya. So name rishis, Pravaranvita, Shadamarshana Gotra, Apastamba Sutra. So Gotra, Apastamba Sutra. So which sutra defines your life? Apastamba Sutra, Yajushaka Adhyayi. I am a student of the Yajurveda. Yajushaka Adhyayi. And then Sri so-and-so Sharma, Mahalinga Sharma Nama Masu. Finally, the name just appears like that and goes away. And then they'll be hearing like this, if you've noticed. Because they heard everything, and then the person's name they should forget. So at the last moment, they'll do this. And so this is I'm happy you mentioned that. And look at that. That shows the power of tradition. And we need to tell our children all these things. And also, traditionally, whenever our people used to do anything, it starts with a big prayer. It starts with seeking advice from the guru, and this is what I'm planning to start a business, and what should I do? So they will advise. They'll give some advice. And when somebody writes a book, not a single book, Sanskrit book, has been written without a prayer. They first compose a prayer. And the prayer itself is 1 page long. Composed, okay, composed, not borrowed, composed. This is how it is. And so this is the type of people that lived those days. And so because recognition of Ishvara is there. But I'm happy to hear that from you, Vidya. Maori. Maori. Yeah, Haraprasad. We'll finish with Haraprasad today. Yeah.
Gee, I have a question.
Yeah, 1 minute. Let's Haraprasad has been waiting. Yeah. Yeah, Haraprasad, you can unmute yourself. Now, what's interesting is our
Nirupadaka. Kaha arthaha?
yeah. So it's a technical phrase which means something which does not have a form. Nirupadika. So rupa, upadhika, nirupadhika. Upadhi means what? What is upadhi? Upadhi is a form.
Yeah.
Upadhi is a form. So nirupadhika means formless. So bhakti, formless bhakti, like that Balaji was saying. Yeah. Bhakti of the forms. So this is why the Western religions have a problem in worship. They can worship, but what will they imagine? God is formless. Therefore, how will you worship God?
Yeah.
Because we need something to visualize. Without
We
visualization,
have,
without a form, you can't relate at all. Relationship is impossible without a
yeah.
form. So,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
yeah, Srividya.
Here Krishna is talking about however one does the puja to me or prays to me, I am blessing everyone in that form or in the according to their bhakti. Okay. So now, what about the atheist and the agnostic here? Does they get the same amount of blessing from the God or not? And also, what I was about to ask this question of other religions, they also pray something, and they also does prayers, mass prayers, and for their according to their dharma, but they are also blessed in their own way.
Yeah. So that's why we say prayers in any culture, any language, any religions are effective. So it cannot, because they are all worshipping the Almighty, the Sarva Shaktiman, whatever be that Sarva Shaktiman, whatever form it is. It doesn't, for us it is Rama, Krishna, or Devi, Durga, but then for them it is something else. This is how we look at it. They don't look at it like that. We have to ask them, why you don't look at it like that? Okay. And but we say, you worship Jesus, it doesn't matter. You are blessed. You're going to be blessed exactly like anybody else in the world is going to be blessed. No problem. They don't agree with these statements, by the way. This only a Hindu can make the statement. Please understand this. This is very important. We say this in a Vedanta class, we can say all this. And even outside Vedanta class, whether they agree or not, I don't know. So the Vaishnava may not agree with that statement. They say that Krishna is it, Vishnu is it, and anything other than Vishnu, Shiva himself has to come and join Vishnu Loka. Like that they may say. So we don't have a problem with that, but you see how the differences begin manifesting. Correct? If you take something literally, then you're stuck with that. But the prayers are effective. It doesn't matter whether you're a Vaishnava or Shaivite or whether you are a Christian or a Muslim, the prayers will be effective. Whatever you pray for, it will work. Why? Because Ishvara, all-pervasive Ishvara, and the atheist you mentioned, Bhagavan only has given that freedom to the atheist to think like that. That thought is also Bhagavan only. So Bhagavan is not threatened. Atma is not threatened. Brahma is not threatened by any thought. Oh, how come this fellow has become an atheist? So, if there is a theist, there can be an atheist. That's all. Two sides of the same coin, really speaking. And sometimes I tell people, these atheists, sometimes if they have the right dialogue with them, and if you talk to them about Vedanta, their life can change. That is how I used to feel. And because I agree oftentimes with the atheist, because that God which is located somewhere in heaven, looking down upon its people and deciding who goes to heaven and who goes to hell, that God doesn't exist, he says. I don't believe that such a person, just an entity, exists. I agree with that person. Because then partiality comes. And this partiality we can't accept. So some people are chosen to go to heaven and others go to hell. This thinking people cannot accept that. And many thinking people are atheists. Okay. Bertrand Russell, why I'm not a Christian, right? That's what he says. So very interesting. Good topics to discuss.
I think in a later chapter in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says that whichever devata you're worshipping, they're indirectly worshipping me, right? There is a verse in a later chapter where he says that.
Yeah, he says that. And so even in our Sandhya Vandanam, we have that. We say,
Something.
Namasavitre Jagadeka Shakshite Jagat Prasuti Siddha. Govinda Pundarikaksha Lakshamam Sharanagatam Akashat Patitam Toyam Yatha Gacchati Sagaram Sarvadeva Namaskaraha Shri Keshavam Pratigacchati. Just like it rains and then all streams of water are flowing everywhere and finally all the streams go to the ocean. Like that, Akashat Patitam Toyam Yatha Gacchati Sagaram, Jaisa wo sagar ko jata hai, like that, Sarvadeva Namaskaraha Shri Keshavam Pratigacchati. All Sarvadeva Namaskara, all the Namaskaras, all the worship to all Devatas, all go to Keshava, like that it's said. So, this may make Vaishnavas very happy. Look, they might say. And so, good things to think about. Okay, it's 8:30 here, we'll pause with this. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amritakalsahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trilokyanathaya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amritakalsahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trilokyanathaya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalasahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trilokyanathaya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay Kumar ji.